Pain ripped through my chest before my eyes even opened, and I felt my body being lifted by hands that were not hands at all. I could not breathe. My ribs felt like broken glass pressed against my lungs, and every heartbeat sent a wave of fire through my body. I tried to speak, but only a weak breath escaped my throat. Around me, blurred shapes moved fast, their voices low and urgent, speaking in a language that sounded like clicking metal. My name is Oliver Bennett, and the last thing I remembered clearly was my ship breaking apart above an unknown planet. Now I was somewhere else, lying on a cold surface, surrounded by creatures with long limbs and smooth gray skin, their eyes glowing faintly like small lanterns in the dark. One of them leaned over me, studying my chest wound with quick, precise movements. Its fingers were thin and steady, and I could feel a strange coolness spreading through my body wherever it touched. I wanted to scream, but my throat only allowed a whisper. "Stay still," a voice said, flat and mechanical, coming from a device near the creature's neck. "Your body is failing. We must act quickly." I could not argue. My vision was fading, the edges of the room turning dark, and I felt my strength draining like water through open fingers. The last thing I saw before losing consciousness was a bright silver liquid entering a tube connected to my arm. When I woke again, the pain was gone. Not reduced, gone. I opened my eyes slowly, expecting the same fire in my chest, but instead, I felt strangely calm, almost weightless. My skin had a faint silver shine beneath it, like threads of light running under the surface. I lifted my hand and stared at it, confused and afraid. "You are awake," said a voice beside me. I turned my head and saw one of the creatures standing there, holding a thin device that displayed strange patterns of light. "Do not be alarmed. Your blood has been replaced." "Replaced with what?" I asked, my voice barely audible. "A nanofluid," the creature replied, "a synthetic substance designed to repair damaged tissue and support failing organs. Your original blood could not sustain your injuries." I looked down at my chest, where the deep wound had been. The skin was smooth, only a thin pink line remaining, where the injury had once torn me apart. "How long have I been here?" I asked. 6 of your days, the creature said. "Your recovery has exceeded our expectations, significantly." I did not know if that was a compliment or a warning. Over the following hours, more of these beings came to observe me. They moved with calm precision, but I noticed something in their eyes each time they looked at my scans, something close to disbelief. One of them, a slightly smaller creature with sharper eyes, seemed especially interested in my progress. She introduced herself through the translator as Vesa, though I doubted that was her real name. "Your species heals unusually fast," Vesa said, studying a screen that showed my internal structure. "The nanofluid accelerates repair, but your body is responding beyond normal limits. It is almost competing with the fluid itself." "Is that dangerous?" I asked. "We do not know yet," she said. "No species we have treated before has reacted this way." Her words stayed with me long after she left the room. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, trying to understand what was happening inside my own body. The silver light beneath my skin pulsed gently, almost like a second heartbeat, and I could feel a strange energy running through my limbs, as if my body wanted to move even though I had barely woken up. By the next day, I could sit up without pain. By the third day, I was walking around the room despite Vesa's repeated warnings to rest. The medical staff watched me with growing curiosity, taking notes, running scans, and speaking quickly among themselves in their clicking language. I began to notice something odd. Every time they scanned my body, the silver fluid inside me seemed slightly less visible, as if it were fading. When I asked Vesa about it, she looked at the results with an expression I could not fully read, somewhere between confusion and concern. "Your body is producing its own blood again," she said, "at a rate far faster than expected. It appears to be replacing the nanofluid on its own. Is that not a good thing?" I asked. "It should not be possible this quickly," she said. "Your body seems to treat the nanofluid as something to overcome, not something to depend on." I did not know how to respond to that. The idea that my own body was fighting against the very thing that had saved my life felt strange, almost rebellious. But it also made me feel oddly proud, as if some deep instinct inside me refused to accept help without proving it could survive without it too. Days passed, and my strength kept growing. I could feel my muscles responding faster, my breathing steady, my mind sharp despite the trauma I had gone through. The medical team increased their observation, bringing in more instruments, more scans, more silent stares filled with quiet astonishment. One evening, a taller figure entered the room, someone I had not seen before. His presence made the others straighten immediately, and I understood he held some authority among them. He studied my scans carefully, then turned to look directly at me. "You are the survivor from the broken vessel," he said, his voice deep and steady through the translator. "Your recovery has become a matter of great interest." "I did not ask for that," I replied honestly. "No," he said, "but it has happened regardless. Your species was not expected to survive such trauma without extensive support. Yet here you are, walking, speaking, and repairing yourself faster than our systems can measure." I did not know what to say, so I stayed silent, watching him closely. "We have treated many species across many worlds," he continued. "All of them accepted our treatments as final solutions. Your body seems to treat our solutions as a challenge to overcome." There was something almost respectful in his tone, though I could not be certain given the flatness of the translation. He turned to Vesa and exchanged a few words in their own language, before leaving the room without another glance at me. "What did he say?" I asked once he was gone. "He said your recovery must be documented carefully," Vesa replied. "Your body may hold answers that could help many others." 10 days after waking up, I stood in front of a mirror they had brought into the room. My reflection looked almost the same as before, except for a faint shimmer beneath my skin that had not completely disappeared. My chest, once torn open by the crash, now showed nothing but smooth skin and a small scar. "I want to walk outside," I said suddenly, surprising even myself. Vesa hesitated. "Your body has not been tested outside controlled conditions." "My body has already tested itself," I replied. "I think it is ready." After a long silence, she agreed, though with clear caution in her voice. 2 guards accompanied me as I stepped outside the medical facility for the first time. The air felt sharp and unfamiliar, carrying scents I could not recognize, but my lungs adjusted almost instantly, as if my body welcomed the challenge. I walked slowly at first, testing my balance, feeling the ground beneath my feet. With each step, I felt stronger, as if my body was proving something, not only to the creatures watching me, but to itself. The guards exchanged quiet glances, clearly surprised by how easily I moved. When we returned inside, Vesa ran another scan, and this time her expression shifted into something closer to amazement. "Your recovery is complete," she said. "Your body has fully replaced the nanofluid with your own blood. There is no trace of synthetic material remaining." "So I am fully human again," I said, half joking. "You were always human," she replied, "but now we understand something we did not before. Your species does not merely heal, it refuses to remain dependent, even on something designed to save it." I stood there for a moment, letting her words settle in my mind. It was strange to think that something as personal as healing had become a discovery for an entire alien community, a lesson about human nature that even they had not expected to learn. Before I left the facility, the tall figure returned one final time. He studied me carefully, then spoke words that stayed with me long after I left that place. "Your kind may seem fragile at first glance," he said, "but your bodies argue with damage until damage loses. That is not something we anticipated. It is something we will remember." I did not respond immediately. Instead, I looked down at my hands, steady and strong, no trace of the injury that had once nearly ended my life. I thought about the fear I had felt when I first woke up, confused and in pain, surrounded by beings I did not understand. Now I stood here, healed, changed in ways I could not fully explain, yet undeniably myself. As I walked toward the exit, ready to return to whatever awaited me next, I could not help but smile faintly. My body had faced something impossible, and had refused to give up, even when the odds seemed set against it. Whatever challenges waited for me beyond that facility, I knew one thing for certain. Whatever tried to break me next would have to fight not only my will, but a body that had already proven it did not know how to surrender.